shiznit, shooting the shiznit. Best little wrestling podcast in the business. Your host BT, and all his guests. You'll never know who he'll have next. Shooting the shiznit, shooting the shiznit. Best little wrestling podcast in the business. Shooting the shiznit.
All right. We're live from 304 Studios in Jonesboro, Arkansas. This is an STSpod.club production, episode 4 of 5 Minute Time Limit and episode 905 of STSpod.club. We are live, as I said, and we got a huge studio audience tonight. I'm excited about bringing everyone in to talk, but we're going to start out with my old buddy. I'm going to give him 5 minutes, and when I say my old buddy, we've been knowing each other for a long time. Welcome to 5 Minute Time Limit. Jamie Ward, how are you, man?
I am wonderful, and I estimate it's been 39 years, BT.
Oh, wow. 39 years, geez. And we met because of Carmella, really, probably, didn't we? Because she came to Memphis.
Exactly. And you had already been corresponding with Tom Robinson, I believe, at the time also. So, yeah, but basically because of Carmella and Joel and Paul running that trip down there, that's how we all met.
Crazy. Yeah, and then I do want to congratulate you for people in the studio audience or watching it live on Facebook. Jamie is our fantasy football champion. The Philly Freebirds are the champions. Congratulations. Second time after second time in 12 years. So 12, I can't believe we've only kicked one person out in 12 years. That's pretty good. All right, let's quit talking about fantasy football. This is a wrestling podcast, kind of, sort of. So what I want you to do, because occasionally I start listening to wrestling podcasts, which I don't do a lot, but for some reason, they seem to all be over there with Ray Russell and you guys. So tell us about the podcast you do with Ray Russell.
Well, first of all, Ray Russell is a legend in podcasting. Not quite like you, BT, but Ray Russell, the guy is phenomenal. The way he studies and what he knows about wrestling is just unbelievable. Ray has several podcasts on the WrestleCopia Podcast Network, and I'm actually featured on 2 of them. One I'll be recording after I leave you tonight, the Other Ship podcast. I usually appear when they have wrestling-related topics, whether old school, like you and I like to talk about, or the newer stuff. We're going to be talking about Monday Night Raw on Netflix when I get done here with you. The Other Ship also talks of other topics. One of the best ones is they like to talk music. They just had one that came out this week where they talked about Kiss. And they also have other shows that feature different kind of whiskey, different kind of foods, fast food restaurants and stuff. Also, the other podcast that I'm on with Mr. Ray Russell himself is the Regional Wrestling Podcast. And Ray and I, we cover 1981 in Georgia Championship Wrestling. We just basically finished up 1981. We got one show left, and my contract's been renewed. And Ray and I will be back for year number 2, 1982 in Georgia Championship Wrestling, where we cover everything in detail, every house show, every TV taping. Ray plays highlights from each week's of television with Georgia Championship Wrestling. It's really informative. So if you have a spare hour or two, please check us out on the WrestleCopia Podcast Network, the Regional Wrestling Podcast.
Tell me, Jamie, why do you think? Because, I don't do a lot of the old stuff because I don't rewatch a lot of stuff. Some of the stuff that we rewatched, we did a show called Was It Really That Good? Gene Jackson, who's part of the bunch over there with y'all, and I actually do a podcast with Gene sometimes. I am a pinch hitter and jump in there on that network. But why do you think, because Genius has so much success with this USWA Retro, why is people still interested, or why do they still care about stuff from the 80s and 90s? Why do you think that is?
I just think that a lot of people just have fond memories, and like you said, was it really that good? You don't know until you actually go back and watch these things. The reason Ray picked me to be his co-host on the Georgia shows was because I got to watch all this stuff when it originally aired. So when I go back and watch it again, yes, it's not as good as I remember it being, but it just brings up a lot of good childhood memories and takes you back to a good place in life. And I think that's why a lot of people just enjoy, the old school kind of stuff. But hey, a lot of the listeners now weren't even alive when a lot of this stuff took place.
Yeah, we're covering 1993 in a USWA podcast, USWA Retro with Gene Jackson and P3 Radio guys. And I come in when one of them is missing. And I never watched 1993 because I had quit watching wrestling, sold my tapes, got married, had kids, owned my own restaurant. And so I got life and I quit watching wrestling. So.
Well, that happened the same thing to me in the 90s. I kind of stopped. For those that don't know, I was part of the Dennis Carluzzo posse with Tom Robinson, Frank Chili, and some other guys.
Your time
Jeff Otto
is up. Have a great night. Thank you for joining us. I appreciate it. Yeah, look, I got him off just in time because he's fixing to say Dallas sucked. There we go. All right, we got 5 minutes. I brought you on real quick there, Neil. I appreciate you coming on. Neil Taylor, the one and only.
Hello.
Hey, man. How are you?
Oh, I'm good, BT. How are you doing?
I appreciate you.
No see.
I know. Well, we did a podcast a couple of years ago together. You're always a busy man doing, and that's what I'm going to ask you about real quick.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. You're behind. Here's what's really funny. I guess I'm a little bit more in front of the camera than you are for Memphis Wrestling because I do the podcast, but we're kind of the two guys that work and do stuff behind the scenes.
Definitely with Memphis Wrestling as well as EPW Wrestling. Kind of the same role for both places, but a lot more with EPW.
Yeah, because you do some of the booking and stuff there, right?
Yeah, well, I promoted their show. So, yeah.
So you do a little bit. If you go back, I'll try to find the episode and put it in the notes that Neil talks all about that. I wanted to bring you on, and I reached out to you because I was trying to find people that haven't been on the show that work for Memphis Wrestling. And y'all had a unique visitor this weekend, and I saw pictures of him being there. And what wrestler can show up in his pajamas and still be cool is what I want to know. So tell us about Violent J. How the hell was he with the crowd? How was he with you and the boys?
Without telling any spoilers.
Yeah, don't do no spoilers. I don't do spoilers.
Yeah, I don't need that heat on me.
Right.
But it was a lot of fun. And I think everybody that checks out the episode coming up, I think it airs maybe in a couple of weeks or something, it's a lot of fun. And Violent J was a great guy. He actually, I think he didn't realize exactly what my role was until I started doing it. And then he would kind of walk up and ask about different things or whatever. But at the end, I give you this little peek behind the curtain. Because the show was running a little bit long, we actually had to film the match that he was a part of out of sequence. So we were kind of in a rush trying to get him done and get him out of there. And as soon as he was done, he actually walked over, shook my hand, told me he appreciated what I did, and that was super cool. That don't happen very often. Probably the only other person I think that may have did that was that comes to mind is Jerry Jarrett.
Oh, wow. Oh,
yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Violent J has just a unique history and then getting in the wrestling business and not really being able to wrestle, but just being a huge, huge fan of the business. But you said something on Facebook. He seems to really understand the business, right?
Yeah, he very much understands the business. I mean, he's a musician that paints his face. Where do you think that probably came from? Exactly.
Well, Kiss, one thing, but
Well-
other than that,
well,
wrestling.
true.
Yeah.
We're going to tie it all back to wrestling for the purpose of this podcast.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a gimmick, and
Right.
and I can't say I'm a juggalo by any means, but
Me
there
either.
are some songs that I like that they do because they just have fun. Right now, that's all he does is they talked about. I love it when an artist can just make albums for themselves and their fans like them, and they do what do they call that? The Gathering. They do that once a year, don't they?
Yeah, I think they do that like once a year out in, I don't even know. I don't know where they do it. I've heard stories about it. James Ellsworth, who I was with practically all weekend, was telling me some stories about doing those shows. And I've talked to a couple of other people that's done those shows, and everybody always seems to have a unique experience.
Right on. I love the idea that y'all. I have said it's like Houston wrestling to me. Memphis was a little bit like this, but Houston wrestling used to bring everybody from every promotion. Bosch would do the NWA champion and the WWE champion, the North American champion, whatever, on the same card if he wanted to, just so as he actually paid them. And you could see some of those paydays online. And he was paying them good money. But y'all, it's just really weird. It's like I see somebody and I say, how the hell are they going to put this guy in a storyline? Where does this guy belong? But, man, that booking committee that you guys have been able to do that with almost everybody.
I know. I've seen some of the people that's been there. I've kind of been the same way. I'm like, what in the world? What tie-in could there possibly be here? And
your time is up. Taylor, appreciate you coming. All right, we're going to bring one of our regulars on. One of our regulars, my friend Stacy. How are you, Stacy?
I'm good. How are you?
How good are you?
I'm a solid 7.
You're what?
I'm a solid 7.
Oh, a solid 7. So real quick, I want to mute. What happened was, God, that sounds Southern, didn't it? What happened was, me and Carl went over there, but I always say, call the phone line. Call it, and I will play a voicemail. And I got a voicemail right before we came online. And so I want to play it's only 2 minutes or something, looks like. I have no idea what's on this voicemail. So that's the reason I'm muting us. So I'm going to mute us for the amount of time that this is played, and then me and you will talk, and we will do your 5 minutes. So here we go.
You have a voicemail.
Yes, I would love to join you live tonight, but I had to call in and leave a message simply because as we speak right now, I am busy doing a real podcast. That's right, a real podcast for real Memphis wrestling fans. Not the people who's going to be listening to this show tonight or whatever this message is going to. I hope it's going to you directly, Brian Trammell, but to everybody else listening as well. I want to make this perfectly clear. Brian Trammell, you are a piece of shit. You have always been a piece of shit. You always want to criticize people when you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. You ain't never done nothing in this business that amounted to nothing. But I've got a lot of time on my hands lately. As you know, I'm an older man. Got a lot of time, and I got to thinking. If I had, hypothetically, might I add, if I had the choice to kill 2 people and get away with it scot-free, I'm talking about I get up to the pearly gates of St. Peter's like, come on, man, come on in, it's okay. I would choose, number 1, to choke you to death with my bare hands, and then I'd wait till they buried you. And then I'd go out and I'd buy me a Ouija board, and I resurrect your fat ass like fucking Lazarus. And just to kill you one more time and feel that rush all over again, it would make me so happy, Brian Trammell. I hate you with every bit of my being. And I hope nothing but the worst for you and anyone that supports you. Have a horrible day and an even worse tomorrow, you fat fedora-wearing piece of shit.
Your voicemail has ended.
Okay. I know that voicemail, it was a 870 number, so it's from Arkansas. I have no idea who that was, but thank you for calling in. As I promised, I will play every voicemail that's sent in. Stacy, your 5 minutes just started. What are we going to talk about this? You've been on every episode so far.
I have.
What are we going to talk about?
Tonight, we're going to talk about, this occurred probably 14 years ago, this conversation that we had. I asked you a question, a serious question. If you were stranded on a deserted island with 4 wrestlers, and I gave you the 4 wrestlers' names, who would you eat first?
Okay, who were the 4 wrestlers?
It was the group LSD. It was Idle Bane, Cody Only, and Dale, Deadly Dale, and then we also threw in Psycho, God rest his soul. He did not survive the island for obvious reasons. He was the first to go. There was one that survived because he could pick berries because he was really tall. The other one had long, a lot of beard hair, and that would keep us warm.
But we ended up eating them all, right?
Yeah. I mean, eventually, we had to.
So who was the first? Now, local people will know who we're talking about. If you're listening to this in bumfuck Egypt, you will not know who we're talking about.
Correct.
But I thought I was going to censor myself real quick there, but then I remember that person that called was saying what they wanted to say. But did we eat Psycho first?
We did. And I think that Deadly Dale ended up staying, was the last one to survive. I mean, he was there for like comic relief, I think.
But we wanted Psycho because he was bigger than everybody else.
Yeah,
and we thought we would get more days if we ate him first.
I mean, not only that, but we could skin him and we could make a tent out of his skin.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. Yeah. We could have. And then we kept Idle Bane
because he was tall.
Because he was tall, he could reach for the fruits and stuff.
Yep. And Cody only had the beard, so he would provide, warmth.
Did you read that to see who we killed next?
I just did, but I don't even remember what all it, because I mean it was shenanigans all through there.
It was horrible.
It really was.
Stacey, I want you to tell the studio audience and everyone watching tonight about the time we were cats.
Man, that was such a glorious time. I mean, it was a good solid 3 years of our lives that we were cats. We would take turns giving each other massages, and we would wear, our towels on our head. I mean, it was we just sat around doing cat things, cat shenanigans, and I mean, it was great. It was good times. I enjoyed it back when it happened.
Oh. Somebody just left the studio audience. I bet they said, what the hell did I just get? What did I get invited to? Robert, come on back in, man. Come on, join us.
Yeah. Part
of the studio audience there. Stacey, so when's the next wrestling event you're going to? I
don't know. I wanted to go to the one in Tuckerman, the benefit show. But I was sick. I got the flu or something. I'd like to go to Memphis. I'd love to go to Memphis Wrestling. I just hadn't been yet.
I tell you what, that's what we'll plan to do when football season's over. Me and you'll go down to Memphis Wrestling, and we'll have something to talk about.
And we can go on tour.
Do what? Oh yeah, I
We're
still
going
need.
on
I
tour.
need to go back on tour. If you don't know what we're talking about, always did a book, and I would hit like 7 or 8 different promotions in the area. But I really think I had that all planned to do with the podcast, and then we had COVID. I even was going to join Lance and try to join Lance in Chicago to do a show there. But ever since COVID, I mean, I stay in the house a lot anyway, but ever
same.
since COVID, I've been there even more. And I just,
Yeah.
it become really easy because I work from home. It's really
Mhm.
easy because you get groceries delivered to you.
Oh yeah.
So I don't do a lot of, I don't go outside in the sun very much. And that might be why I'm so white. So
Yeah.
anything else you want to go? We're coming in on the last few seconds here.
That's all I got. Memphis Wrestling. Bye.
5, 4. I gotta play my sound. I just love
okay.
playing this.
Okay.
Yeah, here we go. Here we
Okay.
go.
Love you, mean it.
Your
Bye.
time is up. All right, we're gonna bring on the Duchess. The Duchess has been here for all 4 shows.
I have.
How are you?
I am well. How are you?
I love that voice, y'all. I'm just
thank you.
it's a radio, it's one of those late night radio voices.
It's my
with
sultry voice.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Are you doing doing advice? I actually called in for the Duchess to what's happening is my left foot. No, I'm just kidding. I do
Tell me all about
apologize
it.
for that guy that called in.
That
and did
was
all that.
was that a joke, or do you get crazy calls like that?
You never know.
Wow.
So
he
like
listens.
I said, I promised to play a voicemail. So
My goodness.
yeah. Usually I have to play one of Lance's voicemails that he mistakenly sends to me to someone else. So, but that one was quite a treat there.
That was I haven't heard one of those in a while.
Put your podcast over everything that you do real quick, so I'll shut up and let you talk.
Oh, all good. I'm me and John Domingo. We are on the Boomer Bunker. We live stream the recording of our podcast on Monday and Thursday nights at 6:30 Eastern. Boomerbunker.com. There you go.
Right on. And what is
Short and
Boomer?
sweet.
What's it about?
So we discuss a lot of current events, politics, topical, funny news stories. We are politically incorrect. If you are easily offended, probably not the show for you, but I think we have a good time. We don't go out of our way to be mean, but we're
You
Jersey.
don't,
We're
but John
Jersey.
might.
Well,
So, there
John
you
John does tend to go a little overboard, but it must be our Jersey nature. So we're both Jersey folks. So you gotta love us, right?
I don't know how you or John was on Who's Right, and they kept making fun of y'all being from Jersey.
That was the both of us. Yeah,
Uh,
I'm
I
from
saw,
Jersey, baby.
I tried to beg somebody to pay my way to Jersey. I'm still. I go a GoFund for the con there. That's what I should do.
Oh.
So tell me, did you get
Yeah.
a chance? You always get homework, right?
I do. I get
did
homework.
Did you get a chance to watch your homework?
I watched it several times.
Oh wow!
So I could.
So,
well, it wasn't a long segment, so I could watch it and then watch it several times.
So I'm gonna tell everybody what I got you to watch last
Yes.
night, and it was probably watched by more people than that's
Oh, I'm
ever
sure.
watched professional wrestling because it was on Netflix. The debut of WWE, the very first show. I thought the presentation was just really good. The matches were fun.
That was
the show
incredible. Where
What
did they
did you
film
think
that?
about the interest? This guy is so
Oh.
what we call in the business over. The crowd absolutely loves him.
Oh,
Travis
how's
Scott, who is a rap
singer,
artist,
yeah,
I guess, or a singer. I don't know. That sounds horrible, but it shows my age. Travis Scott came out with Jay
Gen
Uso.
Xers. Mhm.
So what'd you think?
Oh, I thought it was spectacular. What an entrance. Where were they performing? Like, where was this?
They were in California, right?
Okay. Oh,
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
I mean, the arena was monstrous. Like, it was, I could feel No Farmer Jones says LA. So, okay. It was fantastic to watch. I mean, again, I don't watch a lot of wrestling, but that blows away all the stuff I used to watch as a kid, and they come into like the little ring and, you'd have maybe, it looked like there's 500 people in the room. This was stuffed full of people, and just the music and the vibe, freaking awesome.
I thought
Awesome.
so too. I think it probably grabbed a lot of people that,
Yeah.
like you said, that don't watch wrestling that might have turned on Netflix last night.
No, it was
saw
all shiny and sparkly.
Yes.
Like it was all like, you know, and Uso, man, he just walked in. Everybody was like, Uso. Like it was just,
Yeah.
and I didn't realize that the announcer was Pat McAfee or McAfee, I guess.
You're right. You're right.
Because I'm watching it. I'm like, I'm looking at him. I'm like, is that Pat McAfee? Because I watch him on other things. So I didn't realize he was announcing.
He joined, I don't know how many years ago, but he actually did
Mm.
a match also, and then he did join the announcing crew. We didn't know, I guess, if we was going to like him or not at first, but I absolutely love him. And
He's a riot. He's just
my partner in
yes.
crime, Lance, likes him too. We both like him a lot. He's just so fun to watch.
He is.
They had such a good time getting on top of the desk, and I just love that entrance. The entrance might have been longer than
great.
the match. I don't know. Maybe it was.
It was
but
fun for
yeah,
sure.
it was really
the hot
fun.
pink. Nice.
Yeah.
It was a good
And
look. It was a good look.
it just looks so professional now. And then Netflix even made it look even
Wow.
better.
The amount of money
Uh,
that's getting invested in is probably
They said that I think he said The Rock said that's the biggest gate they've ever had. So,
probably.
all right. Unfortunately,
Oh,
you
time's
know,
up.
Thank you, Duchess. I appreciate it.
Your time
Thank you.
is up.
Bye.
Oh, shit.
Wait, are we starting the clock?
Oh, we just started the clock.
Oh,
Hold
shit.
on. Just
All right.
Shit!
Oh no. Well,
She
first
is
off,
hot.
before we even get into what you're going to ask me, I've done some investigating after you played the voicemail. The
Okay.
870 area code. So the
All right.
cities that encompasses: Jonesboro, which that already we know.
I
Pine
knew
Bluff,
that.
Paragould, Texarkana, West Memphis, Blauville. There's another one.
Blah,
But
Bill.
I think I have it figured out. I think I have it figured out who called.
Oh, my
There is
God.
2 cities in the 870 area code. There's an Arkadelphia, sounds a lot like Philadelphia, and there's a city of Ward, W-A-R-D. So I think right there that implicates Jamie Ward is the
Lance
caller.
Goobertown is in that is an
I didn't see
870.
that
I
listed.
think
I didn't
it's
see
from
that
Goober.
listed.
I think this. Well, let's just go ahead and say the guy that did call
Yeah.
is from Goobertown.
Oh,
There you
yeah,
go.
well, for sure. I think it may not have been Jamie Ward, but it was somebody that Jamie Ward put up to doing it because there was the Southern accent. So that wasn't him. But Arkadelphia and Ward in 870. I think that nails
good
him
pick.
right there. So
You're
there you
right.
go.
Guys, Lance is the last person in the studio audience. If you're watching this live, there's a link right there, not on my Facebook somewhere. Somewhere, go through it, hit the link. Come on, join us. Join us. Give me somebody else. Lance, tell me about Raw last night. What was your thoughts?
Oh my God, what a phenomenal show. The Duchess just mentioned it from LA. They pulled out all the stops. That was the show to get the lapsed fans back to watch, or the people who are not fans who've never watched before. Everything was so shiny and spectacular and well lit, and they all had their working shoes on. Every match was solid. The only match I didn't really get into that much was Drew and Uso, to be honest. I thought it was very just there. Whereas everything else, and it wasn't bad. It wasn't horrible.
No, it wasn't bad. I know what you're saying.
It was just there, and it was short. I thought the girls turned it up. Liv and Rhea turned it up. The tribal warfare was excellent. Obviously Punk at the end. Punk and Rollins turned it up. They had a great match. The whole show, just an electric atmosphere. They pulled out all the stops. Having Cena come out too, everything about it. They just nailed it. They hit that show. They hit it out of the park. It's really great. And I'm not sure if the largest audience they've ever had. I mean, it was huge back in the day when it was originally on USA. But I'm sure they did really well.
What did we say? 8 million back in the day. 8 million. And at one time there was. At one time with Raw and WCW, we'll have to go back and look. 12 or 13 at the same time. But remember, everyone was watching it at that time. I find it crazy when you go back even further at how many people was watching wrestling. But when you had promotions like Memphis, who had a 20 share, and that I know what the hell that means. But there was 2 out of every 4 homes or 5 homes was watching Memphis Wrestling. And the thing about it was, back then, we were all watching it at the same exact time. So I'd be interested to see when Netflix would be able to release that, how many people were watching it, how many people stayed, how many people, and things like that. It'll be interesting to see what goes on.
And how they track, like, if you watch it the next day, how does that count compared to like when you're watching it live? Is it the same? How are the ratings going to be determined? But yeah, I mean, obviously huge audience last night. They pulled out all the stops. One of the highlights, another highlight, was Hogan getting booed out of the building.
That was crazy, but it didn't surprise me, really.
When he first came out, there was the initial explosion, and then within about 20 seconds, everybody realized, oh, like, screw that guy. We hate that guy now. And they started booing. And I think there's the animosity about, obviously, the political ramifications, but the beer, too. They've gotten in bed with him and his beer, and the beer logo was
I'm not getting in bed with Hogan, so I just let you know that. So.
Yeah, but that was another highlight for me. But yeah, they shone last night. They really pulled out all the stops. It looked great. So it'd be interesting to see what the next few weeks look like too. Will it look that spectacular, when they go to Des Moines, Iowa and stuff?
I want to ask you something. Was the ring smaller? It looks smaller to me.
I don't know. I really didn't think about it.
The entrance was, after watching Wrestle Kingdom, the entrance was really small. So, all right, Lance, I hate to do it to you.
Oh, no.
Stick around, but I love doing this part.
Your time is up.
All right, thanks, everyone, for joining us, the studio audience. Also, thank you for joining us. We went 31 minutes tonight. That's what she said. And I do appreciate everyone for joining us. We have our regulars. We have Lance now and can join us on the first Tuesdays if he's not out gallivanting somewhere, going to a concert or doing, because he's retired now. And so thank you, everyone. There will not be a Patreon tonight. But we do thank you for joining us. And as always, same bat time, same bat channel on the best little wrestling podcast in the business. Be there. And as everyone knows, well, everybody knows this by now, I love my mama.
Don't miss Memphis Wrestling Live, Sunday, January 26th. The original bro, Matt Riddle, is coming to Memphis Wrestling. Meet Riddle at our VIP experience and catch him live. Saturday, February 1st, watch WWE Royal Rumble with us at Dave & Buster's. It's free. Friday, February 7th, meet us at Ghost River Brewing Company on Beale Street for our WWE SmackDown pre-party. It's free and all ages welcome. Saturday, February 8th, Memphis Wrestling returns to Strayhorn High School for a big event benefiting the Strayhorn Band Boosters. Sunday, February 16th, it's our next live TV taping featuring a WWE ID Tag Team Showcase. All tickets are on sale now. Get yours right now at memphiswrestling.tv.